right. All right. So this is the after report on Red's Corner for the Canelo Alvarez, Terrence Crawford mega fight last night. And I have Dick Liberty, and we're gonna talk about what was going on there. How you doing, Dick?
I'm doing good. I want to say thank you for having me, especially here on Red's Corner. We've been talking prior to this. I've been really excited to be a part of this, and I look forward to this conversation because it'll be a doozy. I'll tell you that.
Well, I had no dog in the hunt. I wasn't rooting for one of the fighters or the other. I just was watching the event. But
Okay.
the commentators, they were so off base. They were so obnoxious that it made me want to root for Canelo.
Oh,
They were so
I bet.
blatantly biased toward Crawford
Yes.
the whole fight, right? And I didn't have like the first four rounds. Their ringside judge, that wasn't an official judge. It was just somebody that somehow he's qualified to give his opinion after each round who he thought won. He had Crawford ahead, winning all four of the first four rounds. And I might have given him, made it 50-50. Two rounds Canelo, 2 rounds Crawford. Okay. Now
Right.
I I was expecting Canelo because in the very first 2 rounds he was slipping them punches just like he did. God darn it, I looked him up 3 times a day. The Puerto Rican guy that fought Canelo, he fought Mayweather, he fought Pacquiao. He fought Margarito twice. Knocked him out the second time. What is that guy's name? But when Canelo fought him, Canelo was slipping really good on him, right? And he
Yes,
was,
absolutely.
and his name's going to come to me in a minute. But the Canelo was slipping real good the first 2 rounds. He wasn't countering, but he didn't do that against this guy I'm thinking of here either until later. Then he started slipping, and that's a common thing. I had a sparring partner,
Right.
Roberto de Jesus. He was like 32 years old. He was Puerto Rican. His cousin was Esteban de Jesus. He's been boxing his whole life. And
Okay.
I'm 18 years old. And so I'm working on cutting the ring off, and he's working on slipping punches. And I threw a jab, and I missed, and he hit me. And I
Right.
threw a right hand, and I missed, and he hit me.
So he was probably sliding angles and just getting that head step just to the outside
Oh,
or
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
on the
Yep.
round piece, right?
Then I threw a left hook. I'm like, I missed it. He hit me again. And I'm like, miss this. And I threw 4 punches in a row as fast as I could. I missed the first 3, but the fourth one, I hit him right on the button. And he was laying on the floor in the hurdler stretch position. Eyes were wide open and a smile on his face, and he was out cold.
Wow.
Right. But
You
that's why I
knocked him
learned.
out like a lullaby.
Yeah. So Puerto Ricans, like they all have that slip. They know how to do it. The pull counter and all that. They know what they're doing. And Canelo does it really good, but he didn't do it after the second round. He stopped slipping, right? He
Yeah,
was
no,
getting that.
it almost seemed like Canelo had a hard time to figure out Crawford's style. The timing was off, the angles were off. He couldn't decide when to stalk versus when to throw the punches. The footwork seemed a lot slower. There was really reduced activity compared to some of the fights he's experienced in his earlier career. And I think Crawford ultimately took advantage of that um, during this fight, during those 2 rounds, that you could say that he won. And
Well, from the he realized he was after the fourth round, he realized he had to step it up, and they started fighting in the fifth round, right? And they started, back and forth. They were fighting like Mexicans fight. And there was a lot, but he didn't put the combinations together. It was just the right hand or just the body shot. He wasn't, he put a couple combinations together, but it was too late, too little, too late. I tell you what though, they promoted that. I mean, the promotion was more about TKO promotions and
Can I comment on that for a second? Because this promotion, right? This promotion, it was literally like they promoted it like it was the second coming of Christ. Okay, like
right,
spoiler alert,
right.
it wasn't. Both these guys are great fighters. Both of them had various careers, and they've had their challenges in their careers. I think Crawford went up in weight on this one, if I'm not mistaken. But in
Two
all
weight
honesty,
class.
yeah, two weight class. So in all honestly, though, them being both great fighters, when you look at the sport of boxing and what it started as and where it's going now, like they don't even compare to the legends of the sport like Sugar Ray and his speed, or Tom Hearns and that right hand from hell, or Robert Duran's Manos de Piedra. Like they couldn't even outshine Reggie Johnson on a good night from this performance, from my perspective. And I love Reggie, but he never got this kind of mythical billing. And then you had Max Kellerman. He wasn't calling a fight. It almost seemed like he was auditioning for Dana White's pool boy, and he was drooling over Shaga and Dana, and half expected him to break out in a pom pom routine.
Yeah, he was trying way too hard. I mean, I thought it was a good fight,
Right.
and I did have Crawford winning, but it was I had it close. I mean, he maybe won. I had him winning by 2 or 3 rounds, but
Okay.
not like the ringside, judge was, the guy that,
Right.
given the scores that he wasn't an official, but he was given, his opinion, and then
Yeah.
and it wasn't as wide a margin as the officials were. But I did have him winning. And then afterwards, I thought they were both extremely gracious with each other. In fact, like today, uh, Crawford gave the 4 belts back to Canelo. He gave him. He didn't. I mean, those
Yeah.
sanctioned bodies will give him. He'll get new belts, but he gave those belts back to Canelo. I mean, the respect for each other was. They had class beyond
Absolutely.
promotion.
I got to say, that display right there, total professionals, ultra respectful, the gentleman in the ring. It wasn't no WWE circus that goes along with some of the showboating and all that. There was no cheap talk, no trash talk. They had a clean fight. They were very classy in their fight. Uh, I thought that was very well done, and I think that says a lot about the character of these fighters that often gets overlooked, especially when this kind of sport. This is a full contact sport. I don't think the majority of people don't understand the amount of discipline, the amount of work, the amount of sweat, the amount of blood, and even the amount of tears that goes into being that type and that level of athlete.
I'll tell you what. For as much as they got paid, though, especially Canelo, I'd
Right.
I'd have I'd have been able to. I would have been so dialed in. I'd have been able to walk a tightrope into the ring, man. If they paid me that much money, I'd have practiced my. I'd have been prepared. That
Absolutely.
that was insane amount of money. So he made like 100 million or 150 million, and Crawford made like 20 million or 50
Yeah.
something. I mean, it was. I mean, the amount of money that Canelo got paid for that fight, but he was the draw though. It's going to be hard. Canelo's never going to pack a house. I mean, Crawford's never going to pack a house like he
Right.
did against Canelo. I mean, unless he was fighting King Kong, man. I mean, they,
That would be a fight right there, wouldn't it?
yeah, nobody didn't want to see that. I mean, it was. And it was really funny because I remember, so I got to go to Sugar Ray Leonard's training camp like 6 months
Uh-huh.
after he beat Marvin Hagler.
Oh, wow.
And so I was with Roy Jones Jr. and it was I had just got my Trident, right? I just became officially a Navy SEAL. That was and so we got to go. Sugar Ray Leonard, his attic, he turned into an in-home movie theater.
That's
Had
impressive.
reclining chairs, and all that. And he had this projector screen. The whole wall was a projector screen, and he replayed that fight
Uh-huh.
for us, right? And he told us all the little things that he did to get inside Hagler's head, right, and all that,
Mhm.
And there was none of that kind of strategy for either one of them. You could see that there was no tactical thinking, very, very much, not very much in that fight.
Right, right.
I mean, there was enough. I mean, Crawford was doing some things that just getting something out there, and he throw some fast combinations that really didn't make real good contact, but it was
No,
enough
they didn't.
to keep Canelo off of it.
No, it didn't. I think on the mental and tactical edge, Crawford was a little bit more adaptable, especially mid-fight. He sensed kind of what Canelo was doing, and I don't know if Canelo wasn't. He was just out of its frequency. I don't know exactly, but there was a lot of Crawford started really strong, maintained the control in the later rounds. It didn't really even fade out. We saw where Canelo tried to push the jab and the counter punching. They accumulated points, but they weren't the big volume blows and the precision that mattered. Under the confidence and composure, Crawford knew and stuck to the game plan. I don't know. I don't know what was going on with Canelo. I don't know uh, if there was something. Maybe the plan got changed. I'm not really sure. I think.
When you listen to his trainer in the corner, they weren't really telling him. They told him to go to the body a lot, and he did do that, right? But they weren't really giving him. Okay, so against a fighter like Crawford that's going to move and has the speed, going to the body is a good plan. Okay,
Yes.
but you gotta work other punches off of that, hooks and overhand rights and right hands. And Canelo wasn't putting them together. He was just, it's
No.
like he was trying to land the big shot. When
Yeah.
Sugar Ray Leonard fought Marvin Hagler, he figured out if he got him mad, that he would try to knock him out. And if he tried to load up on his punches, Sugar Ray figured out that he could outbox him. And
Right.
so I don't think. I mean, the fifth round, they stood toe to toe and slammed on each other. That they started. I was kind of impressed by that. In the mid rounds, they stood in there, in the final two rounds, the 11th and 12th round. So the fifth and sixth round and the 11th and 12th round, they went for it.
Yes. Yes.
And I think if Canelo would have done it earlier, it might have turned out different.
I can agree with you on that there, for sure. And I don't, how much, let me ask you this. With this style of fight, the way that it was promoted, with all the glitz, the glamour, how much do you think that impacted the mental state during the course of the fight? Because there was, like I said earlier, there was timing, there was angles that Canelo faced challenges with. The footwork's a little slower. How do you think that played into the psychological aspect of this fight?
Well, I think Canelo kept hearing everybody saying that he was too strong for Crawford.
Right.
I think he started to believe in that hype, and because of that, he was loading up and he wasn't putting punches together. As far as the big dance being that he fought Mayweather, he fought he hasn't fought Pacquiao, but he fought Mayweather. You know, he's fought some. He's been in the limelight. He's been nothing this big. This was, you know, this is 70,000 people were there.
Right.
You know, but the money was more. But I I just think that he bought into the hype that he had the power to put him out. I mean, he knocked out that Russian that was the, you know, light heavyweight champ, and he aced him, you know. But when you look at how he set that punch up, I mean, he basically made the guy run into that overhand right.
Right.
And he there was nothing like that against Crawford. There was no setup. You know,
No.
boxing, there's a lot more to boxing than most people even have a. If you watch, there's all kinds of videos out there showing, like when Roy Jones Jr. fought uh James Toney. They were back and forth, trying to do pull counters and
Right.
you know, and they were countering each other's counters.
Yeah,
It was like a chess.
yeah, I was just gonna say boxing is a physical chess match, you know, and you have to be on your game. And I gotta say, Roy Jones Jr. has probably been one of my all-time favorite fighters. I remember watching as a kid, I remember watching, you know, when Tyson was coming up, when Holyfield, Riddick Bowe, and then Roy Jones and that Sugar Ray, all those guys. But Roy Jones Jr. hands down was probably my most favorite fighter because he just seemed brilliant in the way that he could move, his slips, his counters, his setups, his angle control on the step outs and the step ins is just that's kind of what helped inspire me. Him and Gracie is what inspired me to get into the mixed martial arts world and that stuff. But I feel like we're
Yeah,
missing that these days in this sport.
well, we are. I mean, there's not the inside game, right? Like
Right.
Duran. Okay, watch Duran fight um Marvin Hagler, or
Okay.
Duran fight his first fight with Ray Leonard, his when he fought Marvin Hagler, and when he fought Iran Barkley, um he was doing so many, like uh so like I was saying, Canelo cracking with that left hook, right? So
Hmm.
there's a pattern you can work to set up big shots, okay?
Right.
And so like you crack them hard with that left hook to the body, and then the next time, especially against a southpaw, because they're leading with their right, okay?
Yes. I happen to be a
And then
southpaw.
okay, so you slip to the outside and crush them with hard to the
Yep.
outside the elbow to that short rib, right, with a left hook, right? Then the next time you look, they fall for it. They're gonna make sure got you blocked next time, but you don't
Yep.
punch. You go to the other side and crack them hard with a right hook on the other side,
Right.
right? Then the
Yep.
next time you slip to the left, you look but you don't take it. You slip to the right, you look but you don't take it, and then you come back and you double left hook body head, okay? And then the next time you you look but you don't take it, slip to the right, look but don't take it, slip to the left, but instead of throwing a hook to the body, you throw that overhand right down the middle, and then a hard left hook right behind. You'll put him out by doing that. And then Duran used to do this. He would bow down to the left, and then pivot, and then he'd have an angle on you where you're looking at where he was, and he's got you in a profile, and he's got the punch advantage. He never let you get it back.
That's
Okay.
right. He cut it all off and pick you apart.
Right. So what I'm just describing to you, I mean, when you have that, you've got your pattern, you've got your game plan, and the other guy doesn't, you are always they can never catch up to you. And Canelo knows how to do that, but he didn't
No,
in this fight.
no.
And it wasn't that Crawford was doing anything to prevent him from doing it. He was moving. He was throwing
Oh,
quick straight punches. All right. He wasn't really feinting a lot. He Canelo was just tentative to get after it until he got to the point it was like desperation, and then he let it go. But Canelo fought him, and then hats off. I mean, it was a good fight, but
Right.
it wasn't like the greatest of all time fight. It
No,
wasn't
definitely not.
it wasn't Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns,
Right. Yeah,
right?
absolutely not.
Right? You know, and but they wanted to hype it that way. They were trying to talk it up that way. They were using those two guys, those two great fighters, and that fight, and they weren't really promoting that fight. They were promoting TKO and
Yep.
OBU
Yep.
sanctioning. That's what they
I
were
was
doing.
just gonna bring that up. What's I was just gonna bring that up. And the reason I was gonna bring that up is because of the way that Dana White was looking in this thing, and what he was, it was almost like, where did it go? Let me see my notes. It was like he's sitting there, Lex Luthor, with this grin, because this fight with the promo piece is drawing attention to his bill that he's doing to unify the boxing, to, put everybody in a cage, so to speak, the talent in the cage, and take total control. Um, to build his monopoly. And it almost seemed like this fight was brought together to convince Congress to let him own the boxing, in a sense.
Well, believe it or not, you can thank the state of California for shutting that down. The
Okay,
revisions
great.
prominently, because they're like, no, that ain't happening, right? And what he was going to do is going to make it a monopoly, like UFC is. There,
Right.
you've got Pride, you've got other, but nothing else is even talked about. But how many? If you know Dana White, you hear how he said over many times. You can find interviews where he complains about how it's too expensive to do boxing because he doesn't want to pay the good fighters the money. Now he paid Canelo. Canelo made $150 million, and Crawford made like 20 million. Big difference, man. Huge. And Canelo, Crawford ain't gonna get that kind of money again because he can't draw like Canelo. I can't hear you. I can't hear
There
you.
we go. Sorry.
Okay.
I've had some technical difficulties today. I do apologize for that. But what does that say about, where they're trying to drive the sport? That is blatant disparity overall. That's like, we're giving you this thing
So
dressed
what
up in
they're
a
trying to do,
deal, but by the end of
what
the
they're
day, you can barely afford your cab fare, right?
what they were trying to do is make the fighters like I'm in financial services. I'm an independent agent. I can represent anybody I want to. Okay. Now I have somebody that has I'm through them. I got the best providers there are, right? But I can go where I can take somebody wherever I need to take them. I'm independent. Okay. But the company I came from was captive agent. I could only sell their product. Okay.
Right.
So that's kind of like what they're trying to do with the boxers is they could only fight under their sanctioning body. But because that bill, they can't bring the law. It's like people they'll throw frivolous lawsuits out and sue in the penny stock world. It happens all the time. They try to use the courts to steal companies. They'll steal a
Right.
company, right? They'll and they get awarded the majority stock in a company and they stole it. Okay, it happens a lot. I've seen it happen. Okay, so
Right.
that's what they were trying to do, but because of that, because the California put the brakes on, so it ain't gonna pass. California's not gonna let it. Not gonna. No congressman in California, and they got the most, is gonna vote for this bill. Okay, and
Right.
and what's going to happen? So the UBO may become a sanctioning body, but now that Dana White runs his tournament to find the talent to fight for the belt, okay. But once they get that belt, then it goes to purse bid,
Okay.
okay, and whatever promoter is going to put up the most money will win the bid and be able to promote that fight. So it makes it competitive, and that's why the fighters, the champions make. I mean, those. I told you what the numbers that Canelo and Crawford made, but
Yeah.
the undercard wasn't even close.
Oh no, it never is. It
One,
never is.
yeah, yeah, wasn't even close. I mean, so the so it's I mean, yeah, go knock yourself out. I mean, the tournaments have been done. The
Yeah.
next
Okay.
champ,
Okay.
De La Hoya, Golden Boy did the next great champ. Then there was before that there was the contender, Stallone and
Right.
Sugar Ray Leonard were involved with that. And then there was before that Cedric Kushner. Remember Cedric Kushner?
Vaguely, vaguely.
He was from South Africa. He was rotund. He was huge. Had this Fu Manchu mustache. They called him the Walrus.
The walrus.
But he created a heavyweight, called it Thunderbox, a heavyweight tournament.
Okay.
Okay,
That's a
and
clever name.
so the tournaments to find the talent, that's been done to death. It ain't nothing new.
Right.
Okay, and you know it's the problem is keeping them. I mean, you get the good fighters get exposed, and when people see them, when managers see them, they want it. When you're doing as a boxing manager or a promoter, if you've got a good fighter, you'll get sites and you'll get distribution. You'll get TV. Okay.
Yeah, because you become the money train. So, but with that being said, I want to say, do you see a future potential rematch between Crawford and Canelo?
Oh, I think Canelo will want it for sure.
Uh,
Crawford, um, see, he's going to want if I was him, and I could see that happening, he's going to be a more equal pay between the two of them.
yes.
Now he's got the title, which is going to be hard to find a promoter to do that. Okay.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't put it past the realm of possibilities, especially with Mr. Dana White hanging around and lurking around in the shadows there, trying to increase his monopoly. So
but Canelo's got to do. And Canelo has got to show that he's still got it, right?
yeah,
Because
I think he could. I think he if he'd have forced more inside work early, and maybe he could have disrupted Crawford's rhythm. You know what I mean? He
yeah,
definitely have to cut off the ring a little more, pinning in Crawford's movement, and trap him up a
well
little bit.
he's got the skill level to do it. He just got to do it. You
Absolutely,
got to do it. You can't
absolutely.
just do it the night of the fight. You got to do it in the gym. You got to do in
Yep.
training. You got to have your pattern, right? You got to have your plan, and you've got to rehearse that plan until it's second nature. And because this is what happens when you get the adrenaline starts coming, right? It's all it is. It's a hormone. There's no mass to it. It just sends signals to your other organs. Your respiration is going to increase to get more oxygen in your bloodstream. It's going to cause your pancreas to start producing more glucose to get more fuel to
Yep. Yep.
your stream, right? It's going to cause, and what happens? The reason you get butterflies is if you're not using that, it dumps off in your stomach. So that's what causes butterflies. If the excess, so all you got to do, you shadow box or jump rope. That's how you manage it,
Yep.
right? But if you
Yep.
don't know, you think you're going to throw up, right?
Yep.
And then it causes a delay in your thinking process. So it's
Yep.
harder to think and do All right.
Yeah.
So you're going to fall back to that fight or flight. You're going to do what's most familiar. And if you've done it through repetition training in the gym, that's what you're going to fall back to in the ring. And because, see, that's why Canelo didn't do it, because he was loading up. He was trying for the
Yes, he
hard,
was.
right? Sugar Ray
Yep.
Leonard did the same thing to Marvin Hagler. He figured if he got him mad, he'd try to load up and he could outbox him. Same thing, same exact thing, right?
Yep.
So you got to train. You got to train to do those combinations. You got to train to do the setup, okay? Because it's too hard. It's too hard. Like happens all the time. You know, you got your combination in your head, what you're gonna do, and then they flick a jab out there and it just erases everything.
Yeah, it reset your combo. So,
Right. So this is
well,
so I don't think it was bad for the sport of boxing. Um, I think they overdid it with the hype. I don't think. I mean, yeah, they did. They got 70,000 people in that stadium. That doesn't usually happen with boxing. That's like
no,
football, Super Bowl
but you know,
attendance, right?
I got to give him to. I'm going to go ahead and go into I'm going to call it my final bell. Okay, so as I show up more and stuff, I'm always going to end my piece with a final bell. And what I'm going to say about the final bell. Okay, one, this was a very signature win for Crawford. You know, they both fought outstanding. They were both gentlemen, top class, super respect. My hat goes off to them. Okay. You know, Crawford's the first man in the modern four belt era, you know, to become the undisputed champion in three different classes. You know, he beat the top star at the weight where Canelo was established champ. That boosts his legacy more than some of the recent wins. And, you know, knocking off Canelo at his home weight shows that he does have the versatility and discipline and mental strength to be in vicarious situations. As far as what I think we learned from the fight, we had the classy fight, we had the decent action. It was also the most expensive ad campaign since, you know, Fire Festival. I want to say to the fans, you guys want to change, you got to demand better. Okay, you have to demand better, fans, and we're going to do that with you, I promise. To Dana, Mr. White, I love you. You did a great job with UFC, but stop trying to Thanos snap the boxing into your portfolio. That's not how that's not how this is supposed to go down. To Netflix, awesome. I'm glad you're backing live fights and you're being able to pack these things up like that. But if you want to make a real docu-series, you should call it the Overhype Chronicles in respect to the time of shameless marketing when it came to this fight. Because yes, it brought up a lot of attention, and because of the fighters, we maintain that regal excellence and respect, not because of everybody else putting a promotion into it. To Canelo and Crawford, gentlemen, I say thank you. You fought with dignity. Maybe give us a little more chaos next time, you know, because everybody loves a little good spat of chaos in a boxing match. It's not always just about the respect. It's about that fire that comes with that respect. And sadly, some of the fire alarms stayed a little quiet last night. What's your take on that?
No, I think you're right on. There was the 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 fight right before the main event. It had Fernando Vargas Jr. lost. What was the guy? Where was the guy's name? The
Uh-huh.
Australian guy, or
Right.
and or Irish guy, I guess. Um, really good fight. Um, even though Vargas lost, uh, because of the intensity of the fight, that was a fight that they fought the whole time. That was, you know, it didn't hurt his marketability because he got the loss. And there's too many fighters that care too much about that
No, actually,
right?
you're absolutely right when you say that. Not to cut you off, absolutely right when you say that. If anything, I actually think it might have helped his marketability because this is one of those masterpieces that you could. The story on this is going to add to the potential rematch if there ever will be one. I'm not saying there will be or there won't be, but if there is going to be one, I think the story behind this and how the next one goes is going to be epic.
Well, people want to see a fight. They don't want to see a dance. They don't want to
That's
see
right.
they don't want to see a track race. They want to see a fight. And this was a fight. I mean, they got to it. Canelo and Crawford, but I think it was Wade and Vargas, they got to it too. That was a good fight on the undercard. That one was. But yeah, I like this conversation. This is a more intellectual conversation for boxing. I wish the commentators last night would have been more than just, the hype they were throwing out there.
More than puppets. No disrespect, Max, but it was just a puppet show, in my opinion. If you want to see some good commentary, you should join us at the Ring in our next event that's coming out on October 11th out in Palmdale. We're going to have a fantastic fight card set up. I'm going to be sitting there with you, Mr. Lowy, at the ringside, and let's show him how it's done. Let's bring it back for him.
Well, we got a good matchmaker, and he always matches it close. When I was involved with the boxing promotions in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, they were known for having good fights. They'd have that guy was, he'd been around. He was promoter for Archie Moore back when he was world champion. He was the main matchmaker in Reno, Nevada for years, and he did his twilight up in Coeur d'Alene. They had great fights, former world champions, top ranked contenders, right? But they were so far in the wilderness, they couldn't get distribution. They couldn't get TV. Right. Now the technology's there. Okay. But so having our matchmaker, because he knew how to match him close. He knows that's what makes the show good fights. Right. Okay. And it's not just the undefeated record. That really, people want to see fighters who are game. And Canelo and Crawford too. They got to it. It was exciting. It wasn't the greatest fight of the century. It wasn't,
absolutely not. No.
You can go through them. Hearns and Hagler is the top, right? Then you got the Hagler Leonard, both fights. There's been some great fights that were in more skill, utilized. If they fight again, I think it will be, at that PhD level because they both got it. They both have the skills. Okay. I just think that Canelo, like I said, when that adrenaline's running, you can't just change in midstream. You gotta fight your plan. In the SEAL teams, you plan your dive and you dive your plan, and it's exactly the same thing with fighting.
Exactly.
You train the way you fight, right? Or you fight the way you train, right?
That's right.
Goes. So, all right, man. Well, this has been fun.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, and I'll post this up and I'll send it to you.
All right, guys. Make sure you give this man a like and subscribe. Red's Corner. We're going to be doing this quite more. You're going to see a lot more live action to come. This is going to be great.
It's on the WorldTridentBoxing.com.
WorldTridentBoxing.com. Awesome.
All right. Yeah.
All right, brother. Have a good night.